Hey, welcome back to Nuclear Bunker Living. It's Nick, and guess what? It is the 2-year anniversary of this particular complex and the day we actually commenced. I mean, when you look back at episode number 1, where we made that, that midnight foray into the complex, getting lost a couple of times and looking at your iPhone to see where the blueprints were so you knew where you were. But a lot has happened, and I want to share with you every challenge, every disappointment and frustration, but also, bouts of ecstasy and just those euphoric elements of emotion, for example, of you. And so much has transpired, and we're also going to go back into the historical archives and show you some of the footage we have been able to capture the last couple of years too. But having said that, let's walk around. Let me show you the Titan one. And I also want to share with you some of the following over here, like what I envision this particular complex is going to be transformed into. So it is undergoing a metamorphosis. We do know that. I get a lot of questions. Well, what are the plans? What are the plans? Well, look, let me tell you this. Let's go back into time over here. So if you were to acquire a Titan one, you're looking at anywhere between, right now, for example, right now you're looking at anywhere between $12 to about $20 million just to acquire one. Now, there's only a very, very small handful of complexes like this that you can actually acquire. But look, myself and Expert, we have probably explored about 6 or 7 of them, and most of them, it's just, it's a cesspool of contaminants. It's contaminated, and literally the military has just basically just dropped off a whole bunch of contaminants, liquids, asbestos, and they've just permanently sealed it. So others have an environmental covenant. With an environmental covenant, you can't do anything about it. You can't open it. It is sealed in perpetuity, that is. So with this particular complex, I mean, we've been at this for a while now. This is our 2-year anniversary. Now, think of this, 2 years. I mean, challenges, injuries. But there was one particular episode, and I'm crawling through into the instrument array, okay? And, I mean, this galvanized culvert piping over here had rusted, and it could have capsized and collapsed on me. And it wasn't until about 2 weeks after that that we discovered there was an electrical live wire running through that culvert pipe. If I had made contact with that, I would have been electrocuted. See, when you're acquiring a complex like this, you really have no idea if there are any live wires, for example, or if the blast locks, the blast valves, are still operational, for example. I mean, a couple of episodes back, I actually crawled through one of the blast valves. If that was charged up, that could have decapitated me quite easily. So my point is, there are so many variables of danger here. I mean, I've had injuries, Pat's had injuries, Exes have injuries. Some of the other workers, we've all had injuries. This place is unforgiving, and it always reciprocates with interest. So going back to what I said before, okay, so a Titan one, if you're going to purchase one in this type of state, for example, $12 to $20 million proposition. You'll also need about $5 million just to remediate and decontaminate, okay? So now you're up to, let's say, $25 million. So over the next 18 months, this will be fully remediated and decontaminated. We want to get to a point where it's a clean slate. At that particular point, then we bring in the Imagineers, the architects, and our engineers, and basically just, we're going to start with a clean slate and then start the renovation and the rehabilitation of this, and sort of changing the polarity of what this complex was and what it will basically be morphed into, for example, over here. And I guess the real interesting thing there is this. I mean, we have so much utility of space. I mean, the silos, 2 of the silos are going to have different levels. I mean, probably about 15, 16 levels in Silo 1, Silo 2. Silo 3 right now, I'm an equity advisor for a particular company, and we're going to be building America's largest water battery. In other words, that can contain, and the storage of energy to be able to power 15, 20, 25,000 homes. And obviously the grand plan of this above ground is to build out about 5,000 homes, and this Titan 1 complex will be the utility. In other words, it's going to provide the power and the water and basically providing all those type of utilities. So this will be a company, a utility company, that is, And the type of technology that I'm already a part of and invested in, whether it's liquefaction or whether it's utilizing nuclear. I mean, right now, by 2024, you'll be able to acquire a micro nuclear reactor. Now, nuclear today is not like the nuclear of the 1970s and 1980s, like Chernobyl, or even like Fukushima back in Japan with those type of nuclear incidents. I mean, today's nuclear is incredibly safe. In fact, it is way better than solar, wind turbines, for example, or coal plants, or even diesel generators. I mean, Coal plants are carcinogenic. Diesel generators are carcinogenic, for example. I mean, the cases of cancer. Nuclear is incredibly safe, and that is the future over here. Because with nuclear, you can have 20 years of supply, of shelf life over here. You can have a micro-reactor in a shipping container dropped off, and 20 years later, they can pick it up, change the fuel rods, and then give you back the reactor. That is self-powered. I mean, we're talking about 1.5 megawatt and enough for 15,000, 20,000 homes. So that's what we're talking about. This place becoming a power plant, as well as the water batteries, and also solar 1, solar 2. There's going to be a lot of surprises there with the different levels, as well as the build-out of the power dome and the control dome, and also building out some penthouses in the antenna silos, for example, over here. So there's some of the plans. Now, obviously, we also own some Atlas Fs, for example, further south from here. They will be more residential centers, for example. But here, pretty much, it is a commercial endeavor. And look at this. I mean, look at the utility over here. If you just want to just get a nice little wide view. I mean, this is a very, very impressive room. We're talking about anywhere between 15,000 to 17,000 square feet here. And, we've got independent buildings. And once again, when you're dealing with independent buildings, I mean, the level of red tape and bureaucracy, because here we're dealing with the environmental bodies, the Arapahoe County, the Department of Defense, the Army Corps of Engineers, and we're dealing with other contractors, for example. You need a project design when you go building to building to building, and there's a level of, 2, 3, or 4 or 5 months before you can actually venture to the next project, for example, over here. If I was to go back to day one, would I have changed anything? Possibly, but the reality is it is such an endeavor. And, with the nuclear bunker living special, for example, over here, we've been documenting the Titan 1 thus far, but we're also going to be sharing more of some of the other bunker complexes that we've been working on, for example, too. So let's move around, let's walk around. So obviously, once again, you look at the variables here. I mean, I was just about to walk through this, and it's going to take you all the way down to the bottom here, the fastest way. Yeah, so when we first came here, I mean, above ground, it looked like a landfill. It was like 25, 30 years of just rubbish everywhere, for example. So, I mean, we cleaned up above ground. Like right now, it looks really, really good over here. And then it took us quite a bit of time to work our way down the elevator shaft and the access portal, because that was fully contaminated. So in order to get to the next level over here, you need to decontaminate one building to get to the second building over here. And obviously, my favorite buildings here in this particular Titan 1 is the power dome, as well as the equipment buildings. The silos are great. If you want to see a silo, the Atlas Fs, I mean, that's probably the best silo. I mean, it's so expansive. It is a behemoth, for example. And the Atlas Fs are better for residential, for example, where the Titan 1s, I mean, they are great in relation to other types of utility and repurposement, that is, So let's work our way into the equipment building. Here we've got the diesel tanks. There's probably about 5,000 square feet of utility space at the very far back over here before the air shafts. I mean, look at these tanks. Look at the size of these. These are about 50 feet in length, but they're absolutely massive. Check that out. Yeah, so 2-year anniversary over here. I mean, we have been documenting not just the renovations and the demolition over here, but also we've been exploring other complexes. And look, I would say right now we've probably explored about 7 different Titan 1s, as well as a number of Atlas Fs, for example. But, look, when you look at the different complexes, I mean, this particular complex, as we know, I mean, the Army Corps of Engineers, the military, the Department of Defense had an unlimited budget, okay? An unlimited budget. It cost them in $1960 about $47 million to build this. And look, we have the documents, we have all the contractor sheets. I mean, we have the archives of all the bids and the quotes over here. It took them 3 years to basically build this. 300 workers, 24/7. They started in 1959, they completed it in 1962, and this place was active for about 3 years, and then it was decommissioned. And why I believe this particular Titan 1, prolific and the most profound complex in North America, is this. This was the only one that was government owned after it was decommissioned. And by being government owned, there was different defense contractors who basically leased this from the government for like 40, 50 years. There is no graffiti here. I mean, do we have contaminants? Yes, it's kind of obvious, but we've made significant headway in the remediation. And by the way, when it comes to remediation, you are looking at a lot of dollars, for example. So I was saying in our first 4 months here, about $600,000 just in remediation. And I'm talking about like asbestos, just working our way down to the lobby area, which is tunnel junction number 10. And like I said, you need a budget of about $5 million minimum, okay? That's after acquisition. And look, most of the Titan ones, they are too compromised. The rest have an environmental covenant, meaning there's probably like 2 or 3 Titan ones that are half decent, for example. So you can actually acquire and remodel and, change its perspective and polarity, for example. But you're looking at $5 million, okay? $5 million after acquisition. Next, when you're looking at repurposing, that is, the expected budget here is anywhere between 100 to about $150 million. That's just for the underground, okay, to repurpose it. Between 100 and $150 million. And that's some of the other metrics and some of the math for you, that is. And we're talking about the repurposing of every different building. In this particular complex, there are 17 buildings, okay? 17 buildings, and that's where it's at. We are going to preserve as much as we can. If you look at this 20-ton gantry over here, we're going to keep all that. Obviously, these acoustic baffles here, they're all going to go. This will be all cleaned out. This room is going to be a very, very special room, obviously. A lot of the old equipment, a lot of these old tanks, they are all going to stay. So I want to keep as much of the retro feel as possible, and I think that's really, really important. And along the way, we've also been building a museum. We've been building the museum for some time. And, every week it keeps on expanding. We're going to keep on adding materials to it. And one thing about the museum, the idea is this. I want to commission somebody who can build me 3 mock-ups of a Titan I missile. Now, obviously, a Titan I had 3 missiles. Okay, they're about 100 foot high, with a nuclear warhead. Okay, 4.5 megaton. That's 4.5 million tons of TNT. But the idea is this. Building 3 missiles. I'm talking about the actual size of the actual missiles back in the day, okay? So the idea is they're going to be laid out horizontally because, to get it vertically, we now become a target for the Russians and the Chinese, for example. And plus, the Department of Defense will not give us the green light. So we'll have to place the missiles horizontally. But the idea is our museum is going to be in 2 Titan I missiles. So you walk inside the missile and you just basically walk this amazing array of equipment, as a monument, as a representation of this particular complex, for example. Okay, so 2 of the missiles will be in the museum, okay? And they're going to be laid out horizontally. The third one is going to be an Airbnb where you can come and hang out and live and stay in a Titan I missile, okay? So we've got some really grand plans. And obviously, we're going to really do the museum really nicely. If you've ever been to like Washington, D.C. or the Smithsonian, there's some beautiful displays here where you wear like a headphone and it's all Bluetooth. As you walk into the next scene of equipment, a nice little audio will just animate it and you can actually listen to different elements, for example, over here. So we want to do the museum in that regards. And obviously, while I'm at it, myself and Exit is obviously our lead creative director of the Nuclear Bunker Living series. We've got a couple of books we're going to be releasing too, with the documentation of the Titan I. And also we've been archiving, we've got literally thousands and thousands of photos and terabytes of actual data over here. So some nice little copy books. It's going to be a great illustration of everything that we've been doing thus far, for example. And not just here, we're talking about other complexes, for example, too. So we're going to continue the other showcasing of this particular bunker. And obviously, once again, we're only talking about Titan Is and the Atlas Fs. I have no interest in the Atlas D or the Atlas C or the Titan IIs, for example. Minuteman, they're pretty tiny, for example. I'm talking about the actual utility of space over here. The Titan I, it's an underground city. The Atlas Fs, the silos are impressive. But obviously with our Atlas Fs, what we're doing is this. We're basically going to develop them into a hybrid system. So for example, the Atlas Fs, further south from here, they're going to have about 6 domes attached to them, for example. And domes, they're going to be in monolithic domes, just like the power dome here. So imagine like an Atlas F, and we're going to combine another 6 domes, okay? About 130 feet across, 50 feet high, and about 20 feet of earth above them, for example. So that's where we're going in relation to the bigger picture. And obviously, further south, they're going to be residential centers. Here, is strictly a commercial centre, but a residential community above ground with 5 to 6,000 homes. Like I said, very unique ways of generating electricity here, net arbitrage, where you like net meter it back to the grid, for example, and also being a utility by providing water as well too. And down there with the wells, I mean, these wells are 1,800 feet down into the aquifer here, and we have an allocation of tens of millions of water. That is allocation, and we can tap into it annually. So once again, providing water to the community that we are building above ground. So we are literally 20 minutes from Denver International Airport, which is the largest airport in the United States. And we are closer to the airport than what downtown Denver is, for example, over here. We are well positioned to provide those type of benefits to the community that we are building above ground. So let's go back down here. I want to show some more stuff. So the whole idea of the nuclear bunker living channel was we want to like document and archive everything that is, well, first and foremost for the authorities, for the environmental bodies, Department of Defense, and we're working in tandem with the Army Corps of Engineers because they are remediating the ground, above ground, and basically everything in the buildings, in the 17 buildings, it's on our dime, for example. So we are responsible for the underground. They are responsible for above ground. So we are documenting everything. And obviously, look, I can go back into the last couple of years, the amount of injuries. I mean, between episode 30 and episode 70, I mean, I had a significant injury on my thigh here. I took a big fall around Silo 3 as I was basically navigating my way. And Exeter was there behind me, for example, and I came down and I literally almost like smashed my hip on the floor beams. And let me tell you, this place, it is unforgiving. It's brutal. I mean, Pat's had a couple of injuries on his forehead. I mean, open cuts. I mean, but probably about a month ago, I damaged my pinky, for example. And for those who don't know, I used to be a lead guitarist in a rock band. And, for a guitarist, the most important thing is your fucking fingers, right? But this pinky is finally coming good. But it was all bruised up. I had a deep cut here. But, you just don't know. Like every day, it's a mosaic, a constellation of variables that 100% out of your control. So we're going to continue to archive and document this, but also for your level of entertainment. We are being as transparent as we are. I mean, we're showing you that it's not easy. And the reason why we may use equipment like this compared to like a plasma, like a plasma torch, for example, is because of ventilation. We don't have much access to ventilation, for example, when it comes to like purging any dirty air, for example. I mean, obviously we're going to wear masks. I mean, yes, we've got protective hearing, for example. We're going to protect our ears. We've got heavy duty masks. So if we're operating in the asbestos area, we've got these full-on chemical, biological, radiological masks, for example, the heavy duty ones. Depending on the area, we use different masks for different purposes. Obviously, we're taking a lot of preventative measures to make sure that we are safe. We've done as much as we can to quarantine the contaminants in certain buildings, okay? And like I said, I mean, right now we're just working the power dome here. We've got this racetrack of conduit over here. I mean, which is really, it's a phenomenal testament to the artisans back in the day. I mean, because this is when America was at its probably its greatest because the level of manufacturing. I mean, this complex, incredibly over-engineered, but just the level of skills, I mean, astounding, for example, Every day we just discover something new about this complex, which for us, it's all about exploration. And obviously the acquisition side, there's a business obviously to it. We want to bring you along in some of the explorations, and there's a lot of really cool explorations coming online pretty soon. In fact, I might as well share with you right now what we're doing too. We're also working behind the scenes to basically solve a cold case murder. There was a murder in a particular silo further south from here, where a young teenager, about 19 years of age, his body was found at the bottom of the silo. So Exeter and I are basically looking to solve this cold case. We're working with the police, the detectives, working with the other family, for example. Why? Because we want to bring closure to this particular matter over here. That's a whole different journey, and we'll be documenting that as well too. Why? Because there's history there, and we want to bring you along too. And obviously, having said that, we thank you for being part of this community. I mean, we've gone viral a number of times here, and this channel is becoming more mainstream. And I want to show you, that, I mean, a bunker's great, an underground complex is phenomenal, but the challenges are daunting, Ominous clouds every time we walk down those fucking stairs every day. We have no idea what we're going to confront. And that's the reality of it. That is reality. So you need the capital behind you. You need the fortitude, It's I mean, you got to cut every sign of retreat. Just give yourself permission to succeed, and just taking massive action. And we are sacrificing a lot just to be down here, for example, But we enjoy it. We're passionate about it. I mean, if you've gone back to episode 1 to like episode 85, the level of production. I mean, the cinematography, the effort, the editing. I mean, so much goes into that, and we absolutely love putting that together. And obviously, we thank you for being a part of the community, and we just want to be a lighthouse, a beacon of light to inspire you to perhaps go out there and do this in your respective city, for example, over here. But they are great projects. I mean, it's history. It is such a time capsule and a phenomenal honor. And every week, we are bringing a mosaic of different variables and different ideas, and we want to basically entertain you and just bring you along and just provide you a nice arc to the storyline, a backdrop to this particular complex and how it's undergoing a metamorphosis into something really grand. So thank you for being part of the 2-year anniversary. And we want to take you back to day 1 of acquisition and the first exploration, which was at midnight. Midnight, and basically exiting around 6 a.m., for example, over here. But yeah, so this is a highlight reel of the last 2 years. And once again, thank you for being part of the journey, the exploration, just the remediation and just the demolition. I mean, it's just been so many elements to this kind of thing. So once again, here's the highlight reel. Enjoy. Thank you so much. And thank you for being part of this nuclear bunker living community. Thank you, everybody. Hey, it's Nick here from Nuclear Bunker Living over here. Do me a favour, smash the like button, click notification bell, subscribe. Thank you for your support. Should be here very shortly. Looking for a gate, Okay. Whoa! Snake! So I couldn't wait. I was at the hotel. I'm going to access this Titan 1. It came online, activated in 1961. Only a handful of these Titan 1 complexes were built. They were online for 4 years. They were decommissioned, they were abandoned and undisturbed for over 60 years until tonight. Got lights, extra lights, we've got batteries, masks. Okay, get your air sample in here. Okay, we're good for air. Okay. Okay, you got your massive fans. What is this? Remind me not to walk on that. Okay, a launcher area, ethylene glycol system, supply fan and damper controls. Ethylene glycol, okay. So that tank would have contained ethylene glycol. It extends all the way to the back. And what's this over here? There's another tank over there. We've got an EGS tank that leads into what? More Foxboroughs. Conditions on these. American government back in the days. Do not attempt to open while fans are operating. Okay, this is closed. Okay. Okay. Grab onto this. Let's see where this leads us to now. should be an opening further up. How far? We'll soon find out, but okay, this is a tight tunnel. It's going to be at least a 4.5 foot clearance. I am bending over, there's bolts. Okay, looks like an air shaft, one. There's another tank over here. Okay. How far does this go? Okay, what have we got here? Okay, there's an opening here. First thing I need to do is this strong enough? You better help me. Okay, I'm going in. This, according to the blueprint, should take me to the transfer exchange building. Okay. I need to slide down that. Is that strong enough? Okay, I'm gonna slide down this. Okay. Shit. Okay. Slide down. Oh shit. Okay. Okay. What is going on over here? Okay, I'm officially stuck. Good thing is the alarm's not going off. There is oxygen down there. Otherwise, I will know. Look at this. How do I get stuck here? And there's nails over here. Okay. Okay. Just gotta follow this pipe down. Okay. Okay, my arm's stuck. My arms are stuck. Okay, I'm going in. Head down. Anyway, oh, what's my head? Oh, what the hell is this place? Okay. Bring it down. Okay. Okay, we're officially inside. Okay. Now, we've actually entered the elevator shaft, wearing hazmat suits and wearing asbestos masks. And we had analysts down there. We took multiple tests. We took multiple samples, and every sample that we took in the laboratory, it tested positive for known contaminants, asbestos, lead, and what have you over here.
No, pero para dejarlo separado. What do you got? Put it inside again. Put it inside. Okay, cool. I think this is good. That concrete is called G-concrete. That bunker grade? Bunker grade. It's got bunker grade. That bunker grade.
So, first up, we had to get the crew in there. We had to basically build a mobile shower, the actual access portal. So basically, when you take the hazmat suits off you, you have a shower, and then you put a fresh pair of clothes on as you come back to the surface. It's important that all contaminants are basically contained within a prescribed area, that is, kind of thing. So that way, everything is enclosed in a contained environment. Next to that, we also have our negative air pressure machines. It's very similar to like an air scrubber, for example. And like air scrubbers and negative air machines, they're going to remove potentially dangerous particles from the air through a series of prescribed filters. And these filters prevent any individual from breathing in toxins that can ultimately lead to illness. And these cumulus clouds are often low in the sky and develop as a result of convection. And when you see them, it's usually a sign of severe weather ahead. This is not looking good.
Holy shit. Yeah, dude.
Right now, the safest place for everybody is to be underground.
Let me go through. Please, por favor. This is inside a building.
At this stage, the elevator shaft is being recontaminated. This will set us back many, many weeks. Not the best start. I mean, specifically when it comes to like recontaminating something that we've spent most of the week decontaminating. This will set us back many, many weeks. Kind of inherited all like an entire junkyard. Now pipes, we have equipment, we have water pumps, we have concrete pumps, we have filtration systems, we've got active carbon bags scattered, littered amongst every, I don't know where you start from, but literally this is a junkyard. This week we've actually had 5 dumpsters. They've been delivered to the property, and basically we've filled it at capacity. And let me tell you, the place is starting to look a little bit cleaner. But we've come a long way. But it's probably going to take another 2-3 months just to clean above ground. And its alloys in this particular watch tower is the high mechanical strength, resistance to oxidation at extreme temperatures, and a shield against thermal radiation.
I want to go out to the end, but I also know that I'm like 240 pounds.
Come on, dude, get that Titanic view, baby.
Tell me it's similar. Yeah, we'll strength test it first here. Nice. There we go.
Chewed through 14 on his 50,000 pound excavator bucket on the first day of this boxing draw and Goliath battle. It eventually took 4 days to defeat this militant metal giant. It was finally driven away in humiliation, in subservient pieces to be melted down and repurposed into a future docile building structure. Jess rocked in with a 50,000 pound excavator, and we dug 25 feet deep down, and we finally made it to the top of the equipment building in launcher area number 3. This dirt isn't just conventional dirt. I mean, we've gone through like multiple teeth on these buckets, on these massive excavators. This dirt is militarized dirt. So we finally gained entry to the access portal of the equipment building in launcher area number 3 over here. We tried over and over again in with the 50,000 pound excavator and Jess, but we were unable to pry it open over here. I mean, we were unsuccessful. We failed at this particular attempt over here. I mean, we snapped every chain imaginable. The back wheels of the loader are in the air.
You get more power pulling than you are lifting.
And once again, we were unsuccessful. Even look at this. Even the back tires of the military loader was about 1 meter up in the air. We just could not get this lid to budge. We just could not pry it open. And we have our precious cargo still underground, that vital water that we require.
That ceiling, dude, it was there. It was there. It's just like sitting on there. Stay. So sick.
There's less water on this one.
Give me some light over here. Yep. There you go. Shine it down this way. Right there. Yeah, there's water. Yep, there's water in there.
That's clean out.
It's actually higher over here, Nick.
You got? Okay. 1 second. Lower it down. These doors about 22 foot across on both sides. This door opens up first, and then we're going to open up this door over here. And then we're going to basically build our own gantry crane, and then build another building on top of this, and we'll be able to run all the scrapping down the elevator shaft.
Right, the diameter of what you're picking versus what you're picking.
We've really made a mess on the engineering and the math.
The next one would be both those chokers on one door.
And even using both lifting eyes on either side of the access portal doors, we still couldn't get this to open up. Okay, so this is dead right now.
Right now.
We've gone through every option, and we're basically approaching stress load, right?
Yeah, on the rigging, not the crane.
Yeah.
Yeah, the crane's still good for 118,000.
And I don't mind destroying those plates.
Right.
If it means getting up to 118, let's just fucking do it.
Problem is, we can't get capacity. Yeah, that shackle.
The shackle they put on there is going to snap.
That shackle's only good for 30,000, and we can't fit a bigger shackle that's got a larger capacity because of the hole size.
118,000 and nothing.
1,000, you're going over.
And the crane's going that way.
Okay.
So we are going to be heading down to a crane operating school that literally is right down our street that heads to the actual Titan. Today we're going to go down and talk with them and see if they can pop right behind me the lid that is at the top of equipment building in launcher number 3. We dug it out a while back, but now it's time to see if we can actually get them to negotiate something and be able to come down here and pop this lid. It means everything, because if we get that open, we actually can basically start getting all the metal out, everything that we need to scrap out of that room to turn it into what we're going to be turning it into. So, I'm going to head down there and see what they have to say.
Guys, 3 cables. Boom. Hook it up. Okay, right done.
Step back. Look for any movement, guys.
I'm sure you've experimented like I have, how to uncork a stubborn old bottle of wine from the old country. You know the drill, using a blowtorch or a lighter, applying heat to the neck of the wine bottle right below the cork. The heat should force the cork to move upward and eventually out of the bottle. Congrats, you can start drinking. However, a Titan 1 bunker complex exhibits no mercy. The uncorking of the lid to its secret passages is a hard-fought battle. The Titan 1 will be tamed once you've earned its respect.
Look at all that
See, just right on it. Where that seal is, it's nothing underneath it.
Let's see, like a jackhammer here.
That's what we're gonna. If this don't work, that's what we're gonna have to do.
blast it apart.
Yeah, dude.
So Pat and I are discussing the game plan for the upstairs level of the control dome. I mean, the upstairs level of the control dome, this is where the missile is, where with all the computer consoles and all the firing equipment, whatever too. So this was the business end of the Titan 1. Look at all that accumulation of metal, literally up to the second level of the control dome. There's a lot, it's probably about 80,000 pounds, it's about 40 ton of metal just for the control dome. Is your chain connected to the door? That's a pretty tight chain. Straight. Okay, if that doesn't free it up, we're gonna use a 300-ton crane and MacGyver the shit out of this. Use that over here. That's my bitch. It's big when you start to groan, it starts to move. So more groaning, please. That's it! I told you! The trains? Yeah. Behind this over here.
Hot water heater there. Yeah. See that right there? Basically, they would put 55-gallon drums here and cinch them down with this, so that if there was enough of a disturbance.
So the drums were placed here.
I don't know if these ever got
And the same with the other works. Sorry, the RP1 tank down
But
in
notice this right here.
I get a picture. Wow, dude, what the fuck? Bear with me. Are you good? All right. Pat, you can really see that water line from down here too. Yeah, you see that shit? Like it's visible as fuck. It literally never went, it doesn't look like it ever went higher than that. I'm just taking my shots really quick just to get everything documented, and then I'm gonna be fucking moving here.
You didn't have to get up the walls to the north?
Yeah, it is northwest, east, south. You'll see that on these and up above us too. Pat, I'm actually gonna come across and get that camera. Can you get that GoPro up top? I'm gonna have Pat help me out. All right. I'm gonna utilize this and see what we can get. Right down. All right.
Now check this out. This is another silo over here, about 12 foot across and about 65 feet deep. So in the event of a nuclear detonation, this instrument array of different panels and instruments, one was for radiation, one for heat, and two for wind speeds over here. These will be hydraulically raised to the surface. Okay, so we're raking out some dirt to allow more room. It's way too tight. The entire galvanized section has caved in. The tunnel has to basically match the curvature of the caved in tunnel. Tighten up the legs. Tighten up. Okay, can you hear me okay? Pull. Hold on. Pull. 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 Hold on. Anybody see my battleship? There it is, having a bit of fun here. If you look closely here, see these dials? What underwater sea creature can we stir up right now? The piping here, look at this. Yeah, this looks awesome here, look at this. Hey, the fox burrows? Yep. Look at this. Whoa! This water's cold. This water is really cold.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Clearly not in the brochure today. When it comes to infections. I don't mind if it was like about knee height, but once you start into your private parts, it becomes a bit of a biological cesspool over here. And if anybody's seen any mutant movies and stories about Chernobyl, so we're going to avoid that.
Welcome to Nuclear Bunker Living.
Episode 35, this is Nick from Nuclear Bunker Living. We have Pete from Crime Moves. Pete, let's look at your face. And we have Alex Gould all the way from the United Kingdom. This has to be the shaft.
Yep, that's your best shaft.
What's down here?
And that's the L3, right?
Original light bulb. Mr. Gould. Oh, thank you. Hold on, with the knee. Thank you. Lift it up.
Not bad. Right. Look at that. The other miscellaneous where there was the habitation, rec hall, kitchen. Right. It's mine. It doesn't have any controls, but it's in fairly good shape. Bit of a dent here. Got the old rotary here, the dial. That's a perfect desk space, isn't it? A nice. Yeah. Yeah, I think I said. Oh. Lift up the silo. We're going to open up the silo doors. We're going to crane ourselves all the way down the bottom and remediate all of that down the bottom. No fitters.
But man,
Yeah.
I mean, this thing is an absolute
Up
beast.
top, we got a good 8 to 10 feet of concrete.
I mean-
because those doors are 4 to 5 feet
I
thick.
mean, on the Titan one, like even like one side is like both sides of the silo door, you know?
Yeah.
And they're like 130 ton at the end of the Titan one.
It's just not easy.
Dude, I just can't stop looking at this. Oh, well.
Battery. No, what was it?
You know what it was?
Oh, it was the mic.
It was the mic. You know what?
It's still working.
It sounded like it hit some tin. Did you hear that?
So does that mean you're going to go over?
Have we established who's going to go over? Okay, well, I think we should walk out like elephants. Okay, let's do this. In fact, we actually encountered a lot of water in Silo 1 in the launch area number 1 area. This time we have a raft. Check this out, we have a raft, a 2-man raft. We got this, we're going to pump it up, we found air. But the idea is this, we want to do something that has never ever been done or even been documented ever before.
See the locks?
The vault cannot let me down.
You dude.
Do you have size 10, sir?
Let's go and check in the back.
Oh. You don't know what to go on to. Today's episode, I've never been up there yet. I want to document it for everybody, but I've been curious as to what equipment has been left up there, but also I want a closer examination. Turn my body around. This is the second attempt. Okay, we've got a problem here. Bypass that. I'm thinking if I can lodge my foot in that. I just don't know about this.
Hell yeah, dude, you got up there?
Yeah. Whew. Wasn't expecting that.
Alright, climbing.
Too far to lay down, right?
The PDF painted a different picture.
It's like riding a bike.
That was like one of the scariest highlights I've done in a long time.
Coolest freaking project ever.